smarter or because I think I'm cool. My brain just retains a lot of things. And I started taking like the SAT prep courses when I was like in 8th grade, only because my parents need childcare. So, and I like words. So if I use big words, it's not trying to exclude people. I apologize, but you can find all of them on the Dysfunction Junction Dictionary. But I've been integrating all these different practices to try to get my body to feel better. And I never knew I was in pain. I literally grew up with a 39-year stomach ache, which I only recognized by the absence of a stomach ache. And when I started to reframe what was going on in my body and try to reconnect with myself, I started being able to manage my somatic responses better. And my migraines have been doing great. I haven't had to get Botox in my jaw, which I was getting every 2 months because my body metabolizes it quickly. And it's expensive. And all of this stuff is out of network. And I haven't had any regular income since June of 23. And my ex-husband and I made this decision together, even though we were going to get divorced, which I've been trying to do for years. I was trying to get out safely. He told me for years, just take all the savings. And I was like, I don't want to leave you with nothing. Like, why would I want to do that to you? I thought that like, I want to do what was right for him. And anyway, we'll talk about that another time. But when you think about money, right, and being worried about money, that's everybody's problem, right? Money is safety. It's not happiness, it's safety. And when you think about safety, our bodies are just trying to protect ourselves. So those trauma responses are really just a form of self-protection. And unless you have the ability to recognize it, right? Recognize it, be aware of it without judgment, and just like take it as a data point and then use it, in an informed decision way and make decisioning around your life around that, kind of like data, right? And ad tech and all types of technology or any other type of data point solution that you would think of. That's what happens. And my father grew up in poverty. So in his genes, right, we're worried about money. He had minimally 2 jobs at once. Like I never saw him. He, in fact, like at my 2nd birthday, he's been teaching me through music since I was a child. And I have a video to go along with this. So you'll have to check it out later. But it is on the whygoproject.com under Only Music Can Save Us, mental health education through music. And he asked me, Lauren, who sings I Just Called to Say I Love You? And I was like, Stevie Wonder. And I have a whole thing about like how I was hypervigilant and they thought I was brilliant and I was, but like also I was in a hypervigilant state. And the reason I knew that also is because he would call me from his 2nd job and I would be going to bed. So he would tell me that, and the song was really popular in 1985 and it stuck. And the thing about safety and money is that stuff lives in your genes. So like, my body has been really like feeling so stressed out over what's going on in my life, despite all the things I'm trying to do. Like there's a lot of crazy things. Like the president of the country is trying to take away the health insurance. Like my shitty health insurance, it's already crappy. And it's just insane. So I've been having close to somatic responses, which is those hats sometimes feel tight in my head when I have these migraine-y type of endeavors. So that's why I'm wearing my headband today. And one of the things I want to talk about, the reason that men and society are in crisis is because no one is speaking their truth, right? People are living in shame. So that's one of the reasons that this is also, I'm wearing blue and you see a bunch of blue, 50 shades of blue for the throat chakra, speaking your truth, not living in shame. Because when you don't speak your truth, you end up getting really sick and it kills you. And I'm not trying to shame anybody. I'm trying to educate. And I also need to save myself. And I have a crazy story. Like my ex-in-laws, they're criminals and this is not good. And my ex-husband is literally frozen. This is what freeze looks like in real life. This is what a somatic response looks like in real life, right? These aren't abstract ideas. This is something everybody deals with. I mean, I haven't met one person that's been married that has never had a thought about finances. Even if you have the most amount of money, they want to keep more of it. You want to get more of it, right? That's what we want as a society. It's safety. And when you think about navigating life in a safe fashion and something that doesn't disrupt your body, that's really what healing is. That's what flow is. It's going from a dysregulated state to a regulated state and being able to traverse those different types of nervous system states in a more effective manner. So those are the things that I want to practice. So when I have these types, when I want to practice, that I do practice, that I want to share with you as practices. So when I do have these types of somatic responses, like my jaw has been cracking over the last few weeks. Like my tooth, I have ceramic caps that I got put on in 2021 I had bonding that deteriorated that I had since my braces got taken off when I was like in 7th grade. And I always knew that I was going to have to replace them myself. My parents couldn't afford to do it. And when I finally did it, nobody realized how badly that I grinded. And sometimes I have a tooth that pops out, and I had that happen after multiple yoga classes this week. Like yoga is not going to save your life, but it will help you at least experience what a more regulated state could look like, right? Because how can we change what we don't how can we change or solve for what we don't understand? How can we get to a baseline of safety if we don't even know what that feels like? So I've learned this all firsthand, and that's why I'm sharing this with all of you, because nervous system regulation, embodiment, neuroplasticity, all of these things, they're not just buzzwords. They are literally what I do every single day. So I don't end up taking my own life, because children who have experienced a parent or family member lost to suicide actually end up having 3 times more of a likelihood of actually taking their own lives, and or 5 times more more likelihood of actually having an attempt. And when you let people go from jobs because of corporate greed, and then gaslight everyone without without a shared reality, and say, oh, you have too many short stints, or you make too much money, or and it's or why didn't your team succeed, or all of these things that I've been told over the years. And then my family's stealing from me, or my ex-husband's family is stealing from me, and I lose my whole family, all these things. This affects you if you don't know how to process it. And I used to just plow through everything because that's the only thing I knew how to do. And that's the only thing most people know how to do. No one has ever been taught how to process emotions, how to release it from your body, how to actually understand and feel, how to communicate. Communication is really hard, even for me. Like, I'm not saying even for me as like I'm perfect or I'm evolved. I'm saying it as somebody who I talk. I've always been expressive. I'm verbally I'm verbally gifted, right? There's a lot of words for that. People are always like, "Oh, your mouth, you'll be fine." And it's really hard for me to express desires, to express need, to express emotions. And that's so much harder for people who literally cannot speak to anybody. And I saw that happening in my marriage. I saw that happening in my personal life. I saw that happening at work, and I saw that happening with myself and my friends. And I've lost relationships that have been for 40 years. Like, my longest relationships on earth are the same reason that I had to get divorced. These people who cannot show up for themselves, who don't know how to process emotions, who get stuck in freezes, which is the opposite of what I was in, right? I was in a fight or flight. And then there's also a fawn, and there's also fight, flight, fawn, and fight, flight, fawn, and freeze. Tongue twister today. Maybe I should drink some water. Don't forget to look at your mantra bottles. But honestly, this is what I use as one of the ways to help stave off migraines. I've been drinking electrolytes for many years. I drink a lot of water. I've been a wateraholic since I was a child. My dad gave me like a water test, and when I was in high school, to try to save money on Poland Springs, and it didn't work. I was able to taste the difference, but I use this to stay hydrated, because that also helps with keeping migraines away, or being able to keep your body at a homeostasis, a baseline. And these are all things that make us all feel better, and we can integrate it into our lives easily, right? So I'm going to take a sip of water. So cheers, salud. People always tell me, they're like, you need to breathe. And I'm like, I know. But also, I want to share these stories, and I really hope that people find value in this, because people cheers. Oh yeah, I love that. Thank you so much, Jesse. I hope that you're putting some electrolytes in. I have a few affiliate partners, and I was partnered with this affiliate that I believe is called Morning Routine. I don't know if I'm still partnered with them, because I was using this platform and the links didn't work, and it's not something I can continue to do anymore, but I still use it. I love it. It's only 3 ingredients. It's lemon, apple cider vinegar, and sodium. And that is literally like such a pure electrolyte. Like, my parents were hippies. My mom made her own baby food. I ate so healthy. I never had the sugary cereals, like the red dye number 5 or whatever that RFK has been talking about. My dad was talking about in the 70s. That's why my parents got together, because my mom thought that was love. She thought that, if this man cared enough about her to not have red dye food number 5 in the 70s, that must be love. That's not love. That's caring. And you could care for someone deeply, but unless you love yourself, you cannot love anybody else. And like, my ex-husband is still stuck every single day. Like, he cares so deeply about me. Like, that's unquestionable, but he doesn't love himself, so he can't love me. And I mistook caring for love. And like, he cares about me from like an actual, like, where are you? Are you safe? Like, last night I was fighting with him about money, and I was like, this is the last time I'm going to speak to you about this, because it's literally killing me. Like, it makes my teeth literally fall out of my mouth. And I lit my whole body up in pain, but I didn't get a migraine. Like this was the week of Thanksgiving. So it was a lot of contributing factors. But he tells me, he's like, I love you. I wanted to take care of you. And I'm like, but you didn't do any of those things and you can't. You can't affect change because your nervous system dictates your reality. So if you have the ability to biohack, right, an embodied comeback, and it doesn't have to be as something as like you lose your whole family, you lose your job 6 times, you get divorced, your ex-husband's family stealing from you, you almost die. Like it doesn't have to be something extreme like that. It could be literally in a moment of having some type of relational conversation that you didn't have the ability to voice your truth. Now you actually can start getting your body to a safe place so that you can potentially do that. It doesn't happen overnight. In fact, one of the things that's really like has been so enlightening to me over the course of this journey is like I really have been able to see where I've been. The reason I didn't have the support that I needed was because when I expressed need, I said it so politely, so diplomatically, so chill, right? Which is I was screaming inside. But when I ask people for help, no one has ever been able to show up for me unless I pay them. That's the truth. And this past fall, I reached out to my former best friend of almost 40 years in a very vulnerable way, who was going through her own thing. I get it. But all I asked was, I was like, hey, and I almost didn't send this text. But I was trying to, I was like, you know what? I've been studying all these different how are you healing modalities. My dad did that. My dad was doing Tai Chi and ginseng shots and all these different things in like the 90s and sitting outside with rocks on his chest in the sun, meditating. And it was terrifying, honestly. And it was embarrassing. And like he did it in front of our house instead of behind. We had a big backyard. My parents had a beautiful house. And all they wanted to do was work for us so we could have a good education. And that's what I'm doing. I'm honoring them with this education. And I'm not building legacy. I am legacy. This is their legacy. My dad planted this seed. My mom knew that I was going to do something beautiful with this. And I am. And the thing is that I've been exploring all these different things. So I was exploring Tantra at the time because I have been working on my sex and love addiction. I've been celibate for 2 years this month, which has been beautiful. And, I hope to eventually get into a healthy relationship, but I've been focusing on rebuilding my life and I don't have any distractions. And that's been the hardest of the addictions to break. Like I have alcohol in my house that I'm still trying to get rid of. I don't miss drinking at all. Like honestly, coffee and sex and love have been the hardest things, like having not 17 cups of coffee. Like I love coffee. And that was something like I could sit in a bar and think about the sex and love addiction. So I'm really grateful for neuroplasticity because that's plasticity in real life. You could break those addictions and those are the things that are holding us back. And it's so beautiful when you're able to do that. Yeah. Decaf coffee, 100%. I like OD on decaf coffee. It like has been staining my teeth, which I obviously care a lot about. So I go to the dentist 4 times a year now. So I digress. But these are the things that impact our lives every day. And it could be something relational. It could be speaking your truth. Like I was trying to express to her that, hey, I was like, this is really isolating. Like I don't have a place to go every day. I don't have a family member. I don't have one person to call. I've been like, everyone has their own things going on. And I respect that. I get that. But I was like, hey, can we just like sit in a room and not speak to each other? Like that's all I wanted at the time. And she didn't write me back ever for 2 months plus. And then finally I reached out to her and again, she didn't write back. And so I finally, said, hey, like this doesn't work for me anymore. I can't be part of this. And like, I was like, I could have literally taken my own life and you wouldn't have known that. And that was just my breaking point. And it's not because I don't love her and I don't wish the best for her, but I also can't be a party to these relationships that are hurting my body. It was really hurting my body. And, over the last few years, you become more aware of those cycles of dysfunction. Like I found myself at a trauma workshop in the fall of 24. I was getting a certification because I do have trauma certifications. I take this very seriously. I'm not trying to be a therapist. I'm not trying to be a coach, but I do these consulting projects and I'm focusing on men now. So that's part of why I mentioned the How Are You Healing? I call it the Man Whisperer Divorce Dudes, because I basically have been raising my dad my whole life and I've been the consigliere to all of my male friends. And I've been helping these men navigate life and divorce. And I recognize the complexities of it and I'm not judging. But I also know what happens when these things go unchecked for all these years. And I'm not a magician, right? But if you want to make some market change in your life, hit me up for a chat because I really do want to help and I know how to help and I want to help get resources for you too, but also give you practices that help you embody a safer existence. Because that's truly how we prevent people from mass shootings, killing each other, killing themselves, emotionally abusing each other, like all of these things, not living in a shared reality. Like, You can intellectualize all you want. There's a lot of people out there like ChatGPT. Anybody can write a book these days. Anybody can get on, everyone with a microphone can get on anything and say whatever they want. Like Eminem said it best. Nowadays, everybody wants to talk, but they got nothing to say, like he said it a lot differently, but that's basically what I see out there. And I do have something to say. If I had my druthers, I would be working a corporate job, making good money, and opening up my pediatric complex nonprofit. Like that's truly what I want to do. And now I'm helping all the humans. And men are in crisis. Like I've lived with a man for 20 years who has been in crisis, and he watched me lose and gain and get sick and have all these things happen, and he didn't do one thing. And he also could have changed his life in the same way. And I've taken him to yoga classes, and he was like, wow, I didn't know that I was going to like that better than dinner. And I was like, yeah, we don't need to eat again. I'm done eating. I was like, we do not need to eat, but what you do need to do is move differently. So when I have these migraines, I drink my water and mind my business. Drinking my water and minding my business. Don't quit your disassociation daydream. I'll tell you all the stories behind the slogans another time, but you could find all of this on Merch with a Perp. And if you want to buy it, support me. I really need some help. But a lot of times this happened to me last Monday, this Palo Santo dish. It was a skeleton meditating with its head, but it fell, and I really felt like it was very emblematic of how I felt last week. I took a picture of it on Monday. I was like, oh, this week is going to be special. And it was. And that's the thing. Most of us feel like that. We feel like we're in a hyper arousal state, and we don't even realize how we got there or how to get out of it, because no one teaches us. So those triggers, those everyday conversations that you then become aware of through these healing modalities and processes. And like, you can't go to like an experiential event and expect to be healed. Like that's just not how. There's no healed. First of all, it's healing. It's literally like any other practice. It happens over time, and you have to do it every single day for your body to hold on to it. And you can learn and relearn and educate and empower and elevate, and you could really help yourself get through these really hard moments. And that's what I hope you get from this. So thank you all for joining me this week. Next week, we will be speaking with, I'm not going to butcher her name, but she has spent her career in HR, and we're going to be turning the tables upside down. But thank you so much for coming today. And I look forward to spending the next episode with you. So just chill to the next episode. Bye.